Bring your ass. You're not watching. Fuck.
You are so.
Nigga, I did not know you said action.
I did. I just said action.
I did not hear it. All right, we're going to do it again.
Shit. Let's do it.
Give me like a 3, 2, 1.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Action.
Welcome to Ask a Man Mondays. I'm Zilla.
And I'm Tay Noonsy up in this piece. What's going on? Hey.
It's been another week, man. How you doing?
You know what? No complaints. I'm real happy about how things are turning out. How's everything going with you, brother?
I can't complain. I feel redeemed. I feel validated. And I feel successful.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Shout out to everyone who watched the YouTube, the second episode on YouTube. It was great. I was able to sit in there and chat and look at everything, and I was very impressed with how we were able to handle that, Zilla. I felt very good watching both parts, but they were kind of long. So now we're at the point where we want to get straight to it and not make the show too long, because we did air it at the very last moment when it was supposed to air. It happened.
All right. We got some guests tonight, don't we?
We sure do.
I haven't checked the emails to get the questions, and I'm very sorry for that.
It's all good, brother. We have some questions in the chat, and we also have some in the DMs. So we're actually good. We probably won't be able to get to all the questions today, but at least we have some left over for the next show.
Absolutely, and keep on submitting them. So what's the first question, man?
Well, the first question that we have, we're gonna start off with: how are some ways I can tell if a man might miss or desire me? And I believe before we start to answer that question, we probably want to pull up our first special guest of the night, our good brother Damon up in this piece.
Shout out to Damon.
How you doing, brother?
What up? What up? What up? What's good, man? What's good?
Good to have you. Glad to have you.
Likewise,
let us know
likewise.
who you are, and everybody. Let us know, and everybody, who you are and what you do, man.
My name is Damon Thomas. You know what I mean? Literally the biggest thing in comedy. You know what I mean? Literally, because there ain't all the comedians out there 6'11", 325. So you know what I mean? Now, funny, I don't know. I might just be funny looking, but I'm really fine as shit. But you know what I mean? But yeah. But I mean, I'm here to answer these questions for the ladies, man. I'm hailing out of Ocean City, Maryland. So you know what I mean? Hint, hint, wink, wink, ladies. But if you're ever in town, hit your boy up.
Shout out to that. Shout out to that.
Right.
Well, thank you for joining us, man. Glad to have you the part of the show.
Yeah.
Glad to be here, man. Glad to be here.
Let's get to it.
All right. So we're gonna read the question one more time. And Zilla, you want to tackle the question first, or we want our special guest to tackle it first?
Let's hear it again, man, so we could get a good understanding of the question.
I forgot who asked this question, and I'm sorry for that. But how are some ways I could tell if a man might miss or desire me?
Damon, what you got to say about that?
I say it depends on the man. I say you got to know the man, because I mean, I'm gonna be real. If I miss you, I'm the type of nigga to be. I miss you, baby. That's me. That's just me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Or listen to the music that he playing. You know, you gotta tap in on his IG and shit like that. Or if he go live and stuff, just listen to music playing around. Some brother riding around saying playing, "Oh, I miss you, miss you, miss you." Tell you, I let a nigga know. I'll let you know.
Word.
Yeah.
But if
I mean,
he playing fuck that bitch, then just leave him alone.
yeah, I mean, I was just about to say that it depends on the situation. Because in that case, like, yeah, if he messed up, then of course he's gonna be saying that you don't know if you can really, if you really trust that. You know what I'm saying? But I will say that if a woman, if I miss her, I'll give her a call. Just check up on her. You know what I'm saying? That's how you do. You get real close up to him, send a nice text, just checking up on you, baby. Just, nothing. Want to see how your day going, or you call her. You call her up, and make sure the voice is right when you talk to her. You real close up to the phone. How you doing? Oh, okay, all right. You good? Yeah. Well, I just I went to church today, and I was thinking about blessings. The sermon today's sermon, they was talking about blessings, and I felt like the preacher was talking to me, and then and I just envisioned you just sitting right there with me, girl.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Um, but that was it. I don't even want to take the time. I know you was mad at me. We ain't spoken a couple of days since that last meeting, and just want to let you know you was on my mind, girl. And get off the phone. You don't want to do too much.
And hang up.
I would hang up. Yeah, exactly.
Yo, can I be real? I did this shit before, and I might be giving away too much, secrets. But all right, this is what I did before, you know what I mean? Like when me and my baby mom broke up a few years ago and shit. I got back in there because I was missing it. I got back in there for about a good 3 months before I fucked up again, right? So what I did was I went and I just waited and I just hit the valve stems on her tires real quick, you know what I mean? Let your shit go down. And then I just happened to be around like, oh, your tire flat. Girl, let me change that for you real quick. You know what I mean? That's how you get back in. Create a problem that you and only you can solve in a moment.
Shit.
Yeah.
Those are all good, and that's a real good answer. And I would have to say how I would show a lady if I miss her is exactly the same things you gentlemen said and mentioned. However, I write a letter. I got a lot of sticky notes. I got a lot of shit that I grab from work that you could write on. And if a man miss you, he gonna contact you. He gonna make sure he can get in a position to put his eyes on you. And he could go through hell and high water. Go through hell and high water. Now I won't say stalking. Let's listen. We do not stalk. But if a man miss you, he's going to contact you. He's going to acknowledge your absence, or he's going to acknowledge the discernment of him wanting you.
Also,
or the desire. Excuse me.
Yeah, desire. Now, brother, I don't want to cut in, but also if your girl don't have allergies, I think flowers are really good. I just want to add, I like giving flowers on a random note, and you shouldn't have to be in a doghouse to send them. Because like when I used to be in a relationship and I go and buy some flowers, I'm in the line. I'm probably the only man in the line with flowers. The main thing people say, "Oh, you must be in the doghouse. You must be in the doghouse." I'm like, nah, man, this is a preventative thing. This is how I make sure I'm not in the doghouse. Because to be honest, my doghouse is kind of fun. I got the man cave, understand me? But I just don't want no drama. So if you miss her, then just find out whatever she like. Even if you don't know if she like flowers or not, you never seen her sneeze around no plants or no grass or nothing. So why not? Go ahead, give it a try. Shit.
Right.
I feel you, brother. An ounce of prevention is worth far more than a pound of cure.
I like that. I thought you was talking about weed for a second.
I went straight to indica.
I don't want my girl to smoke it. That is the weed is expensive. I can't do that. I ain't smoked weed in 13 years. So I, definitely be like, look, girl, I get it. I got you a grinder. I know you keep you some perp. But yeah. Anyway. So that's pretty much it. I hope we got that out of the way, ladies. Hope you're satisfied. Now we have another one. And this one's pretty cool. A lady said, you have a first date scheduled. The guy cancels at the last minute. So I move on. And now he won't stop blowing up my phone. What makes a guy cancel last minute? And why is he blowing my phone up now?
Mm.
Whoa.
I
Say that
say,
one more time, man, because that's heavy. That's
One more
heavy.
time? Okay. All right. You have a first date scheduled. The guy cancels at the last minute. So I move on. And now he won't stop blowing up my phone. What makes a guy cancel last minute? And why is he blowing my phone up
Oh
now?
yeah, that's some
mm.
player ass shit. Yeah, that
So
I can answer that. He had something better than you that was more important, and he canceled because he had to get to that more important thing than he had to get to you. And the reason why he blowing your phone up is because now that he has, let's just say, done what he had to do that was more important than you. Now you the next on the list. Gee.
So the follow up to that, I would ask, okay, so if she realized that, or if that is in actuality what's going on, then how would she deal with that?
Pick up the phone, see what he want,
Okay. Okay, that's cool.
and hear how full of shit he is. And if he ain't, then you got some thinking to do, you know.
All right. All right. Damon, what do you think?
okay, coming from a professional broke nigga. You know what I
Come
mean?
on.
I'm a professional broke nigga coming from professional broke nigga. I presume that if this date was probably on Friday night, just got paid, and it might have been a holiday, week, so that direct deposit came a day late, and the nigga living paycheck to paycheck, and that direct deposit ain't come right on Friday, so that nigga ain't just want to say he broke, but he at least called, and he blowing you up because he don't want him borrowed $100 from somebody. He found somebody borrow $100 from him to take you out real quick. You know what I mean? He trying to hurry up and take you out before somebody else, fill the void.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, I think I'll take a different approach from it. Maybe, just maybe, in his career, something came up last minute and he just couldn't make it. But my gut tells me that this question is based on something that has been planned over and over and over again. It just depends on what type of man you're dealing with. When I read this question, I read it about 3 or 4 times now. You have a first day schedule. The guy cancels at the last minute. So you move on. Why would you move on after talking about a first date being scheduled unless it was already some weird stuff happening? So to me, is that you've already seen the signs of this fella here not being consistent or not keeping his word, or maybe you saw some red flags that made you be like, you know what, if we finally got a date scheduled, if he flake on me, then I'm done. So it could be that, or it could be that because it didn't happen and you were playing this little thing with him, like, okay, I like him, he's cool, and let me go ahead and start the chase. So I hope you're not running away to be chased. And I hope it's the first scenario where he been slacking for so long that when you finally got a date scheduled and you think, okay, finally, like I've been thinking that he was gonna do this and he did it, and then he flaked on you, like, you know what, I'm through. So he blowing up the phone. To me, he's blowing up the phone because he already had been inconsistent in whatever, and just in regular conversation.
Mhm.
And now that he sees that you've kind of caught on to it, or your last little bit of disappointment before you take that whole dive, like you had your toe in the pool and you was ready to dive in the pool, and now you're like, I'm cool, I'm not dealing with it. That fear of loss for all of the things that he didn't thought about what he was gonna do to you after that date came to his mind, and now he blowing you up because he don't want the next brother to have a chance. That's what I think. Damn.
Well,
Drew.
I hear you, but I say if that was the case, he would have called and let her know, communicated that something came up.
Well, he did say he canceled. The question is, right? I got a question. Why is the lady asking the question instead of paying attention to the good signs and the good qualities in the brother? He called and canceled. He was considerate of your time. 2,
Oh,
he called back to set up a second date. So, to reschedule that joint, he blowing your phone up because he likes you.
I heard that question wrong then. I thought he canceled by not showing up and just, no call, no show. But if he called and canceled, then
Yeah.
wow.
I just think that she was done dealing with him. She said, so I moved on, and now he won't stop blowing up my phone. So because sometimes when you deal with women, and let's say you have like if you always on point, then you're not going to experience this. But if you inconsistent and she really like you, he keep kind of letting you like, okay, he's stumbling and fumbling, but I'm kind of waiting on him to get it together. We finally about to have this date. I done picked out my clothes. I know what I'm about to do. I know what I'm about to. And now he cancel on me. I ain't dealing with all that. And the reason why I can say that, because from a male perspective is the same way. Let's say if you courting a female and for whatever reason she cancel on you. Now, our experience would tell us it could be somebody else. It's probably not, but we're not gonna go there. We're just gonna take it for face value. But then if she fake again, then I ain't dealing with you. I ain't dealing with you. And usually they be like, well, what's going on? Why are you tripping? I told you this. I told you that. Like, nah. This already starting off wrong. I gave you a chance the first and the second time. So I think that's kind of the scenario with old girl that posed this scenario in the questions, that it was something that was going on. She really liked the guy, and she's seen enough, and she's just like, you know what, I can't deal with this. Because I remember she said in the chat, she said I had already handled it, and she threw up the deuces. I don't know. That's probably why
She was just impatient, probably.
She could have been.
Because she said first date. That means it's the first time. The first. You know what I mean? She didn't say attempted. You know what I mean? Because she said the first.
Yeah, it could have
Some
been.
people just impatient.
Maybe he don't understand that she got other niggas lined up.
Facts. Because they all got at least 3.
It's always somebody that's in another country somewhere, somebody in the military writing love letters, and you know what I mean? They there, you know what I mean? It happens. Did she write that sad love letter like, I just can't do this. My heart has been with you, and you've been traveling all around the world, and I have needs. So I'm gonna go ahead and be with this nigga named Noonsy because he's here. Okay, he has a career, he's doing his thing. You got a career, but you never here. You ain't got no time. So you don't even gotta be scandalous. He could just be like that.
Yeah.
True. Facts.
It happens. Anyway, but in that situation, how would a woman deal with that though?
I feel she should pick up the phone for one, hear what he got to say, and if it sounds like it's full of shit, she need to let that be the last conversation she had with him. If he sound like he is somebody worthwhile, give him another chance too, and she right, and she got the time, go ahead and see how the first date go. That don't mean you got to talk to him again. Uh, he
My
ain't gonna
bad.
start calling till
I
you
just
pick
saw
up.
the chat. My bad. I just saw the chat. Yeah. All right, good brother. What you think, Demond? What do you think?
Man,
What's the woman?
I think she should pick up the damn phone. She should have picked it up the first time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if he called back, it's like, all right, what's up? Because if you don't pick up the phone, that's just surely out of all right. If you don't pick it up the first time, you was mad, attitude. Okay, boom. Second time he called back, all right, this nigga really got something to say. It might have been really, really something wrong, something deeper. You know what I mean? Hear what he got to say. Like he said, hey, what the brother. Let's see. She said, let's see. Leia said, do not
Yeah,
pick up that phone. You already ignored him. Now he sees a weakness. Nah, it's not about a weak. Like, all right, check this out. See, the thing about men, right? The thing about men, uh, if we not looking for no weakness in a woman, you know what I mean? We are not looking for no kind of weakness. We try to find a way that we can squeeze in. That's not weak. That's not looking for weakness in you. That's looking to fill, the voids, to fill the gap. Because if you weak in the area, it's our job to fill in and make you strong there. You know what I mean? And he know he fucked up. He kept blowing her up because he's apologetic. He wants to make it up to you. You know, now you could go ahead and say, all right, fuck it. Like you don't have to be weak. You could say, all right, look, all right, fuck it. You stood me up on the first one. You canceled on the first one. Okay, so the second one, we was gonna go to Applebee's, nigga. Now we gotta go to Benihana's. You know what I mean? Upgraded. So you got to pay for that. You know, like when you miss your hair appointment, right? You got to pay a cancel. You got to pay a fee, right? Reschedule that motherfucker, right?
well, in my opinion, he should already have that within itself because he know he had to cancel. So it should be
Mm-hmm.
some type of extra or bonus or some type of action that shows, hey, I apologize for canceling, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody still in the comments. But
Shout out.
if you're gonna move on, I would say at least you need to pick up the phone to say, hey, I'm not picking up for a reason. And that will give you the confirmation that you need as far as he understands. And if you continue on getting contacted, then you need to go ahead and block that and not let that disrupt your day.
See, okay, she said, let's see, she said she already peeped the inconsistency. She ain't willing to put up with that. She put the energy out there. Move on. See, that's where you're wrong. Because right, look, you cannot judge consistency or inconsistency off one instance. Because consistency and inconsistency is made up of an average. So you gotta have at least three. You can't judge it until you have at least three dates. Because one, you know what I mean? Because one, if he cancel one and then cancel again, that's still consistent. Is what I mean? It's consistent in a negative way if you think about it. Inconsistent is flip flopping, right? So if you had that first date, he canceled the first one, show up for the second one, right? That's two right there. You know. Now we know that you're not, as humans, we're not gonna be able to make everything. You know what I mean? Some of you are, some of you not. Now it's that third date is where you tell whether that nigga is consistent or not. Because that third date is where, you know what I mean, all stops should be pulled out.
Leah says, if she already moved on, why circle back? Well, technically, the man don't know she moved on because she ain't told him yet. She ain't picked up the phone. Now, you could say he should be able to get the message by her not picking up the phone, but we don't know how long this been going on. It could be going on 2 or 3 days, 5 or 7, if not longer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Two.
she could have easily prevented this if she just would have picked up the phone and just simply said, hey, I'm not interested anymore.
Mhm. You know what? Now that I think about it, right? She said she moved on. First of all, they wasn't in a relationship. It was the first date. So
Yeah, I
she's
don't
not in a
even know
relationship
what
with
that
the other dude anyway.
means.
So right, and at the same time, if it's the first date for her and it's the first date, like with this dude, and she moved on to the other dude that had her first date. So that means she was already talking to both of them at the same time anyway. So technically, she ain't went no damn where. She's still in limbo in the same spot she started at. It's just that this nigga was supposed to go on a date first, and all right, he fucked that up. So let the other nigga go first. Now the other nigga got to play catch up and do better than the nigga that was supposed to go second in the first place. So she's
Right.
still in damn limbo. Oh, y'all women, y'all be wording stuff. Woo. Moving the goalpost. Hey,
Yeah.
everybody, Nosy taking the shit. Ain't gonna tell nobody else.
So we have any more questions?
I got a question. You say you're a comedian, right? How long you been doing comedy?
A year.
A year. All right. I'm this my I'm going on 3 right now. You know what I mean? I'm going on 3. But how do you find it? Are you single or you in a relationship?
Single.
How do you find it? You know what I mean? Dating as being a comedian, because it's hard as shit to date being a comedian because it's hard to find a woman with you know what I mean, a sense of like with that sense of humor that can actually take the shit that go on. So like, how do you find that adjustment?
It's see. Here's the thing. I haven't had any relationships based off of I met her at a comedy club or an open mic, and just by me being, let's just say, a natural comedian, a woman or anybody I've ever dated has always experienced, that with me. And I've been single 6, 7 years. So as far as being in a relationship where I'm traveling or doing open mics and she has to come with me and experience things, I haven't experienced that, but I've had relationships where I was on the team and she had to travel and come with me and watch the games and experience things. And it really doesn't change. I expect the insecurity. I expect the questions. I expect the attitudes, just because that's what comes with women uh, in relationships, being in public. Um, Being a good basketball player in a nice position in my past, I've been, the star, and I've experienced, women being uh, not capable to handle that. Some of them was, some of them did it for the wrong reason. So just with the basketball career I had, I've already in experience with relationships to know what to expect when it comes time with the comedy. Um, Now I'm older, so I expect uh, a older, mature relationship, and I'm not going to allow myself to, let's say, be caught up with groupies, because I just got caught up with some fans just alone on Instagram and saw how that went. Uh, I'm not going to allow myself to date somebody that I see I like, but isn't strong enough for what is to come in my life. I'm gonna date somebody that's, for me. And I guess that's why I've been single this long.
Got you.
Right.
Appreciate this. Let's see. Tay got a question. Said, oh, it's a couple questions there. So I guess we gotta go down to, okay. First off, starting up, said, what is something you want to overcome or improve in yourself?
What is something I want to overcome or improve in myself? Again, I would say being more obedient to God. Um, Being able to resist more of the temptations of my flesh and worldly desires, which I do pretty good, but I could do better or improve if I had to be honest. Um, I haven't really been tested upon my confidence because when I've had those tests weren't hard to me at all. And even if they were, then I didn't see the difficult in them besides me just making the steps that I know steps are necessary to take. Shout out to Newton. You back. The question was, what is something you want to overcome or improve in yourself?
You have you wanted me to answer or no?
I was just answering that when you just came back. I answered just being more obedient to God and being more resistant to the world and the desires or temptations of my flesh. But like I said, I do a pretty good job at that. However, like I've always said to y'all, spirits know spirits. So um, when you know the basics of how things are seductive and seduce you, it always gets harder and more difficult. Uh, and even if you may know that, you know the schemes and tricks uh, are never the same.
True.
Yeah.
For me, oh, I'm sorry, brother, my bad.
No. So what I was gonna say is my thing that I wanted to work on to overcome. It's a constant battle too. I mean, I think a lot of us we deal with the ego and believing that you have all the answers and stuff like that. You don't have all the answers. I think the strength in becoming a better person is to have questions, have more questions, always have the ability to learn, having some humility, and being an active listener, being an effective listener, and not being so judgmental. I think that's something that I like to overcome with myself because the older you get, the more you learn, and you think then you start coming around people who probably haven't gotten to that level yet. You tend to be dismissive of certain scenarios, and you be like, "Man, I've been there, and done it. I'm not trying to hear all that." But you want to help the person get to where you are. So just being a better listener and being able to communicate whatever the situation may be to make it a lot better. I think that's something that warrants improvement. And if you're able to do that, then that's just a good thing to me. That's my answer.
What about you, Demar?
Just to piggyback of y'all, like same thing here. I'm working on trying to learn how to listen to God more. You know what I mean, and not myself, because I ain't made the best decisions, and like you said, spirits knows spirits can feel spirit. Now I ain't been able to judge spirits. It's been some spirits that I let in that if I had that protection on, I could have caught that and be like, hey, I'm good. So and as far as improving on myself, I just want to improve on like self-care, more self-care for myself.
Or Leah Marie asks, how should a divorced woman with children expect to be treated by men? Should she be reserved or just go for it? That's a good question, Marie, and thank you for asking that question. A divorced woman with children should expect it to be treated like a lady by any man, for one. Um, with this day and age, I would say most men that find women attractive know that he's not the only one that find her attractive. And not only that, more than likely, the older you get and the older we get, we know that a woman has sometimes, rushed or just lived her life. And with that being said, children come with that. So most men expect a woman to have children. We're surprised when you don't. And even when we're surprised, we still draw questions and suspicions. Um, So one, a man doesn't know that you're divorced until you tell him. And if and when he does find out, he should treat you as, in my opinion, I would say experience. You've been there before. You said there's pretty much nothing that I could do that you haven't experienced. You've already given birth. You've already been proposed to. You've already said I do. You've already lived with a man that you could call your husband and had the experience, life as a married woman in a marriage. So um, once that word divorce or I was once married comes across, a man should already understand that. Um, if you want to be reserved, I would say you should be reserved just in general because the man that's in front of you, you don't know what he wants. You don't know if it's just sex. You don't know if it's courtship. You don't know if it's uh, anything good or bad. So you would always have to be reserved and never just go for it. However, you being a married woman, one or now divorced, I would say find find some truth in what you want and what you don't want. And if you see that those qualities in the next man, go for it. But that doesn't mean, put your guards down.
Right. Yeah. Um, I got to piggyback on what Zilla said. I mean, it, I would imagine a woman who was married, he already deals with a particular type of man. So I think initially she want to be reserved because she has children and she wants to protect that space for them because the next man that come in their life will potentially be someone that they're paying a lot of attention to. So you want to take your time um, and be reserved uh, for the sake of the children. But once you see that this man is worthy of the spot, then you go for it. I think with a certain level of understanding between two people, um, it can work out very well. But always be reserved at first because it's not just about you anymore. You have children involved, and you just don't want to cause any confusion. So make sure that they know what the situation really is for you, and pay attention to them too. I mean, if the man has children, if has the man been married before? Has he divorced or has he had any long term relationships? Does he have children? And if so, is he in his children's lives? So it's all those type of things that play into that situation, and hopefully that man has already experienced enough and is willing to partake in that in all fairness and all in good faith. I see our good brother wants someone to come and add a little something to that. Tay, would you like to? You can give us a thumbs up if you want to come in. All right, here we go. Uh-oh, there we go. All right, welcome.
Hello,
Good
hello,
evening,
hello, hello.
gentlemen.
Hello, we got Tay Robinson. Thank you for joining us.
That's right.
No, thank you for having me. Let me start by saying just the last two questions and answers have been amazing. They've been insightful, sensitive, to the point, and they've offered a lot of vantage points that I don't think that sometimes we as women don't visit. We just don't, because we just don't see things from the vantage point that men tend to. Um, this particular question I found interesting because I thought it was a great question, because I think that sometimes when you have been in relationship, a marriage or something long term, when that comes to an end, you are in the process of recovery and repair. And a lot of times as women, depending on how that relationship ended and how it evolved over time, we tend to internalize and take the fault and blame for those relationships ending, and it makes us question our value. Now that questioning doesn't last long, depending on what kind of woman you are and what your relationship history is. However, to some degree or another, we do find ourselves questioning our worth, hopefully not unto our value, but definitely trying to figure out if this relationship ended, what does that say about me? Because if you're anything like me, I'm very self-aware, so I want to take accountability. I want to investigate and do self-inventory to see my role, because even if it's not your fault, we all have a role.
Right.
And if you are mature and emotionally and intellectually mature, the first person that you start to assess and evaluate is yourself.
That's
So I
right.
thought that was a very powerful question. And hearing a man say, no, even if you are now divorced, you should still expect to be treated. Your standard should still be that you expect to be treated like a woman, like a lady.
That's right. Yeah, I agree. That's beautiful. We had another question, and that question is, how should a single mother raise boys whose father does not want to be active? He's not a bad person, but irresponsible decisions cause damage, and he's unwilling, my apologies, unwilling to repair, but kids are still growing up.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Want me to read it one more time?
Thinking.
Okay. Well, um,
I'll jump in really quick.
mhm.
I've raised 4 boys. Well, I've raised more than 4 boys. And now I'm raising 3 boys now. So I think that this question is another really and powerful question, because again, coming out of something where it was broken, what you don't want to do is transfer that to your children. You don't want to transfer that sense of brokenness or abandonment or rejection or all those different aspects of that relationship that may be left with the person who is now in charge of caring for those kiddos. And when you're a single mom caring for boys, no matter how great you are at being a mom, they always seek out a man to complete their life training.
Mhm.
So in the interim, for me, as I'm raising 3 boys myself, single, it's important to know, how do we do that in a way that helps them to be intuitive, um, thought provoking, critically think, but doesn't impose the way we think about men on them.
Yeah, I like that you said that. I actually was going to say that, but in a different way. Um, this is why it's important for family structure to be strong. Like be real tight with your family, because in each family there's a bunch of men and a bunch of women, and there may be some men who are very successful, stand up guys who love and care for their family, stand on principles and things like that, and those will be great examples for the boys to see, because just like how men can't teach women how to be women, women can't teach boys how to be men. So we have to be very mindful of that. And as Tay said, you don't want your traumas that you dealt with from a totally different situation with a man, and insert that into some boys, because that can evolve into something that's even worse than what that woman has experienced. Um, you don't want to. I say this a lot when I get in people Instagram lives. I said, hey, you can't be anticipating the crash landing before you even take off. So the kids, they deserve a fair chance at life, and you have to be very positive with them and not be so negative. Um, we see that a lot in the community, but I believe there's a lot of positive role models that you can seek out for them, and not somebody you just sleeping with. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. It can be just some stand-up people who you work with professionally, or there's programs with guys who are, Big Brother programs, or just people that you see that are doing really, really positive things to give you a chance to do that. But with all that being said, because you are the mother, you do have to still kind of have involvement in that, because you want to make sure that they're being taught uh, properly. Okay, so you want to make sure that they're not being tainted with with the counterparts trauma into them boys as well. So if that's something that is very tricky, and it's something that a lot of us deal with, not realizing that you know in these times in 2023, it's hard to hard to trust a lot of people, to be honest. But in good faith with people, you have to at least have somebody involved who's been around for a long time. That's what I would say.
Let me say it to you. How I'm gonna say it to you. Uh, I know you probably regretting having kids with this nigga, but it is what it is. And this type of person is the type of person he is. He's not the first, and most men like this don't see the damage and the foolery that they've done until they about 50, 60, 70 years old. So however old he is or however old you is, as long as he's living, he has the possibility to eventually see. But most people like this don't get it until they 50, 60, 70 years old. Kid's gonna be grown, he have grandkids. So what that means for you is this is the bed that you made yourself, and you have to lay in it, and you have to lay in it and be as comfortable as you can be. And if you don't have any help from the father, like you said, he's not a bad person, so you don't have to treat him like a bad person, but you know what he is and who he is. And again, when you see it at 50, 60, 70 years old, God willing that y'all, still live that long, you're going to remember this conversation. And when he gets it, you're going to see the change in him. But again, y'all going to be about 50, 60, 70 years old. Uh, and the time has come and passed. So you need to raise your boys the best that you can. And then also trust that God will put a man before you and or your boys too that will guide them the right way they need to be guided. Uh, you know that and will understand that by just knowing, the things that align with a man that's good. Uh, so you will have help. You're not forsaken. You're not abandoned. You're not left out. You're not doomed. Uh, so
Right.
just be ready for that.
Yeah.
But you can only do so much. What you could do for your boys is just continue to raise them how a woman needs to be treated for when they come men and they're gentlemen. You can raise a gentleman. You can raise a boy to be a responsible adult. You can't make him no man, but you can raise a responsible adult, organized adult, an adult that knows how to think, problem solve, clean, dress. All of the things that make a good adult. And you know what a good adult is because you live in this world with it.
Right. Yeah, that's a good thing. And then even when things get tough, um, just remember that the kids are paying attention. You don't even want to add. Don't throw anything bad in about the dad. They'll see. They'll see exactly what you see. If irresponsible, and then when they get older and start asking for this, asking for that, and dad don't deliver, then they'll know. You know, because some people are different with their kids than they are with the person that they made the kids with. So
Yeah.
give the kids a fair chance. Don't try to jump ahead of it and say that like that was the relationship you had with that person. Allow the kids to come up with their own conclusion, and they'll
Yeah.
appreciate you for that.
Yeah. Whether you do it by yourself or with somebody else. If you do it by yourself, that makes it that much more closer to mama.
Yep.
If you do it with the help and they can actually say, hey, you really helped me and my mom and you was there and I appreciate it, that makes them happy for black love, they mama. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? My mom found the man that really helped me become somebody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They'll remember that and they'll honor that.
I
Absolutely.
want to jump in as a woman and say, don't buy into the hype that there are no good men. Don't buy into that. Don't be seduced by bitterness and abandonment and rejection that you hear being channeled through other women who who are consistent in their belief that there are no good men. There are good men, just like you are a good woman. There's a counterpart. There's a balance, and it's when you are somebody who is a person of integrity and loving and kind, and you desire to have a good, stable life, sometimes just like you exist in the space, that person does too. So that person may be looking for you, and you miss each other simply because you're existing the exact same way. And that is in caution and nurturing, and you're not out and gallivanting around the world. So don't fall prey to the idea that just because you haven't met him, he doesn't exist,
Hmm.
because he does. Because by the very nature of your being, so the very nature of his being.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's good. We deal with that a lot, and I'm glad that you said that. Even to have that perspective there, we need that because a lot of guys who are good,
Bluetooth is connected.
and it's only a natural thing. When you go through pain, you go through certain situations. You want to protect yourself. You want to protect your children. You know, I get that, but you don't want to block your blessings. Everybody deserves a fair shake. Just make sure you're keeping your eyes peeled when it's something that you like, because we have our five senses. You may see something you may like, but don't let what you see just like overshadow everything else that you're supposed to be paying attention to. Sure, aesthetically, you may like what you see, but now it's time, as we say before, it's time to see them in their space and get to know them on a different level, so you know it's safe to bring that person around.
Right.
So yeah, that's how you do that.
Oh,
What?
they were talking. They had a great connection. She said they spent a lot of time together, and then one day he just disappeared. And he came back several months later. I don't really know the story, but she still likes him, but she doesn't know if, because of his behavior, because of the disappearing act, if she should even revisit the connection.
Hmm.
What do you guys think?
Well, it depends on what was the conversation like prior to him ghosting her. I mean, what was the chemistry like before then? Because it seems like it perceived to have been going great, but he ghosted her. So like, what was the? I would like to
She
to
said
know if
they
that
hung
was
out.
they hung
Yeah.
out.
She said they hung out. She said they talked every day, like all day long. Uh, Lunch breaks. The last person I speak to at night, first person I speak to in the morning. and I personally have my own opinion, but I find it interesting. And I love that you said commercial, because I feel like that's what it was. Because now he's back and he's like almost a sense of I'm better. Like something may have been going on. And maybe even though we spent all this time together and we talked, he wasn't comfortable yet being vulnerable.
That's
So he didn't share.
kind of what I was getting with it, because sometimes when two people are hitting it off really good, um, if you haven't established what your situation is, sometimes it can become overwhelming. You know, we don't like in these times. People always think something negative. Oh, this person still messing with this so and so, or whatever. But sometimes you're just in a different space in your life, and you're not quite ready to do that. And I guess in enjoying the conversation, enjoying the time together, you hadn't really thought about it just yet. And now that the situation has gotten a little serious, you got to take a step back and reset. But I'm still intrigued as far as the level of conversation that they had, because to be ghosted, that's the part where you know what I'm saying. That's
Yeah,
the part where it's a gray area. Zilla, you want to take over?
it makes me ask what was the last conversation about,
Right.
and yeah, wouldn't even know where to begin because it's the intricate details in that uh action that happened.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be able to answer that, at all.
Well, I
Yeah.
think, being a part of the conversation, I got the impression. So first of all, when a man spends a lot of time with you, and physical time, they were going out, they were hanging out, you're talking sun up, sundown, you're calling each other on breaks at work, you're connected. My concern, what I shared with her was this. My concern is this. It's not uncommon for a man, even though he spends a lot of time with you, he talks to you, if something is going on in his life and you're new to his life, he may not have ascended to that level of security with self-disclosure yet. Even
Right.
though he is spending a lot of time with you, he enjoys you, he's obviously interested, but maybe what he's going through in the background, he's just not able to share yet.
Right.
He doesn't know that if you're that invested, or if what I'm going to share will scare you off. So instead of take the risk, I ghost you, repair the situation or address it, and then come back. And if you're still willing and welcome, I reconnect.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of get that. Leah said he might have needed to actually be single, not person, but available for a relationship. And and that's kind of like some of the things that we talk about when you are completing a relationship, or you're trying to close a chapter. You
Mhm.
should have a space where a moment where you kind of self reflect on the rights and the wrongs and the do's and the don'ts, for yourself, not for somebody else. It's like for yourself, so you know how to approach things and how to assess things a certain way. But I do think that he may have made it extremely weird by just ghosting her, because I think that having that conversation, say, hey, look, baby, I appreciate your time, I appreciate your friendship, and even the little courtship we having right now, it just kind of raised some questions in myself, or I'm just feeling a certain way about this and that, and I just need a moment. I need some time to kind of get some things together, because ABC is going on. I think that that's the part where it makes her feel like, well, what's going on? I don't think nobody want to be ghosted.
Right.
Uh, that's where you like, well, what's going on? That actually can make the situation worse rather than better. Because now when you come back in the light, you have to explain your absence, and depending on the nature of your relationship prior to the ghosting, what you say may not be in alignment with severing that good that good quality time that you were having, all of a sudden to sever that causes a problem. So hopefully, whatever situation she's in with this fella, that he's able to be open and forthcoming about what the situation was, and if it's consistent with what she has expected of him or what she's learned of him from that time, that maybe they can mend that relationship.
Yeah. Uh,
Do you think that if someone were to do that and you and one party thinks that the relationship is going great, in her mind it was going great, like everything was in alignment. I personally think that the challenge with reconnecting would be the seeds of insecurity have already been sown. Trust has kind of been broken already. Um, Women tend to be that way. You know, if you ghosted her, and I've tried to say this as sensitively as possible, because she obviously really likes him, because she's back talking with him and they've gone out. So, but I know her. We've known each other for over 30 years, and I'm like, but do you really trust him now? Are you really going to give him a fair shot, or are you now sitting around waiting to observe your exit strategy, when to execute your exit strategy so you don't get ghosted again?
Like, what happened when he ghosted her? Was she sitting back listening to Tony Braxton sipping some wine or some Sade or some shit? I'm just trying to figure this out, because then we know what's gonna happen when he returns and she brings him back. Is she gonna be looking for an exit? Is she gonna? Does she feel? I'm gonna let him feel what I felt. You know?
There's definitely some Fantasia in that rotation.
Okay, see, some Fantasia, some Deborah Cox up in there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, is it really worth rekindling it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
see?
Oh,
So
that's good.
but that's a decision now, because now the cards are all in her hand at that point. She holds all the
Because he
cards.
came back. I mean, he came back. He did. He
He came
came
sincerely
back.
came back.
But at that
But
point, whatever happens after that is going to be on her, because if she allow him to come back in, I mean, if she
mhm,
allow him to come back in, then whatever happens at that point is up to her, whether if it's a success or a failure. Because if she's in her mind like, I'm gonna get him back, then it really she was better off just not accepting him. Like, hey,
mhm,
that this did this, your absence did this to me, and I don't think I can really deal with that. I didn't appreciate that, and this is how it made me feel, and I don't ever want to experience that with you. You made me feel this way when we first met, and now that this didn't happen, I'm feeling this way, and I don't want to receive you in that manner anymore. So I'd rather just remember the time prior to you severing it, and then just accept that this happened, and I
mhm.
wish you the best. See
You're
how many
headed in my direction. No, you're headed in my direction. That's
we're
kind of the advice because I know us.
is what it is.
I know us as women. When it you
He
have
gonna
to
go
have.
ahead again.
I think so too. I mean, I'm going to show her this, but I think so too. I think that the moment that you open that door, you
Yeah.
say to this person that that behavior is acceptable, and it'll happen again. It's like cheating. If someone cheats and they don't have plan change, they're just giving you good word, good talk,
Yeah.
and they come back, you're setting yourself up. It
Yeah.
will happen again. And he hasn't, he's given her subtle details and hints, but he has not confessed or come clean about what happened, what caused the separation.
See, so that's the problem right there. If there's no closure, then there's always going to be reason to doubt his presence the second time around. You don't even have to, you haven't even explained what happened. She's open and willing to hear it, but if he just want to come back around and not feel like that he can't explain what's going on, and that's another, to me, that's a whole nother red flag. Now you just brought up, you can't even own up to what happened. You don't even respect me enough to let me know what went on. Let me choose if whatever reason is, if it's worth me, re-involving myself or reintroducing myself to you in a certain way. If
Yep.
you take that option away, there's no point.
I think as a man, he couldn't handle that better.
Yeah.
And that says a lot.
Leah said, explain and earn trust. That's a hard restart. Good luck, brother. I completely agree.
Yeah.
I think that when, you know, I asked the man's perspective because I can only see it from a woman's perspective. And what I see and know about us is, if you've gotten shallow details and you still can't piece that puzzle together, the missing pieces will only further perpetuate the seeds of doubt.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
he's just not saying anything. I mean, he gave her some tale about some stuff going on with his family, his mom, and some other stuff. But if you and I are close and we're establishing that kind of relationship and we're seeing each other all the time, we're talking all the time, essentially the investment would suggest that I become a part of that circle of support.
I agree.
Yeah. That's
Well,
right.
Tay,
So
thank you for joining us with that question. We do appreciate it. We do appreciate it. And if you have any more questions, please don't feel anything to join the live.
thank
Yeah.
you both.
But thank you for that. And Zilla, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. This is a great thing. I'm real proud of you, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
We can also give a huge shout out to Leah. Thank you very much for joining us. This is your first time. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And Philly, one of the hardest working women I know. She's at work, but she's a huge supporter. She's always been there for us. We got Goddess. And we had our wonderful special guest, Iman. He wanted to come back in, but the flow was going real nice, brother. But you always welcome to come back. Zilla, you wanted to say anything in closing?
I want to say thank y'all for clicking and subscribing to Ask a Man Mondays. We do this every week. And thank you for the audience and helping us grow.
That's right.
We'll see y'all next week.
That's right. Peace.
Kofi Coast.